Hi everyone, I am Ashley Billington and this is the Campfire. Today, we begin our journey through Houston area 6A teams, and we start with District 13 6A after realignment. Here are the teams who will be competing in this big 19 district. Cleveland, Conroe, Caney Creek, Grand Oaks, Oak Ridge, The Woodlands, College Park, New Caney, and Willis. This is a stacked district with big time individual talent and some great teams as well. Let's analyze those teams in our film session.
The Woodlands went undefeated in district play last year behind now junior Mabry Matoyer. He accounted for 40 touchdowns and almost 3,000 yards of offense last year, and invites Quinnell Farrakhan Jr. over from Grand Oaks as a new threat in the passing game. Another quarterback getting national attention is Willis Signacaller, DJ Lagway. He finished second team all-district last year, but look for him to make a name for himself this year. Oak Ridge is young, but has some big-time talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Look for the War Eagles to fight for a postseason spot. You can't forget about College Park. Despite being hit hard by graduation, the Cavs were an 8-4 team last year and certainly will be in the playoff hunt this year. Grand Oaks only picked up one district victory last year, but returned running back Brandon High and will attempt to improve on that mark this year. Conroe loses Offensive Player of the Year Clayton Garlock from a playoff team last year, but returns receiver Lewis Williams and some experience on the O-line. New Caney moves up from 5A and has one of the best running backs in the state in Kedrick Ruscano. Cleveland and Caney Creek are also moving up from 5A and may struggle a bit in their new classification.
After hearing about those teams, it's hard to fathom that only 4 of those 9 will be in the playoffs. Let's dig even deeper into 13-6A with Houston Chronicle reporter John Portman and producer Ward Fasold in our district breakdown.
All right, it's district breakdown time. We are finally in 6A, and we're talking 13-6A with my man John Portman from the Houston Chronicle. John, this district quickly went from 6 to 9, went from trying to find 5 non-district games to now they only need the 2. Talk about the new teams that have joined this district and how that might help add some competition.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Of course, you've kind of got that Montgomery County feel to it, continuing with New Caney, Caney Creek, and Cleveland all moving up from 5A. These are teams that, it's going to make for a really nice travel. They're kind of all clumped together here in the immediate area up in Montgomery County. And, I think that it's going to add an interesting wrinkle to it, especially with New Caney coming in. They've had a lot of success in recent years in 5A. And of course, they've got, one of the best running backs in in the Houston area in the state, and he's up there in the national rankings as well in Kedrick Ruscano. So I think that they can definitely come in and be a factor right away.
There's some really good youthful quarterbacks in this district. Maybe talk a little bit about them.
Yeah, well, it starts with the reigning district MVP, the Woodlands Mabry Matoyer. He had an excellent sophomore season. Put up some big numbers for the Woodlands, helped them get back to the playoffs. I think they've made the playoffs close to 30 years in a row now. So when you're looking at the Highlanders, of course, they're going to be one of the favorites just because that quarterback position is so valuable. And, we saw it last year with what he was able to do. And then up at Willis, they have a new head coach with Trent Miller coming up from spring, but they also have an outstanding quarterback who will be a junior in the fall, and that's Derek Lagway, DJ Lagway. He is one of the top recruits in the country.
And I will talk to you next week.
Sounds good.
The guys had much more to say on this district, and you can catch the entire district breakdown this Wednesday on our social media platforms. Or if you just can't wait, you have to know all about 13-6A, you can go to our podcast, Inside High School Sports Houston, on iTunes and Spotify to listen to our extended version of the Campfire. We've heard about the teams. Now let's take a look at some of the athletes to watch out for and our players on the rise.
New Caney is making the jump from 5A to 6A, and that transition will be easier thanks to running back Kedrick Ruscano. He ran for 1,500 yards and 22 touchdowns last year, and so far has 2,600 career yards for the Eagles. Kedrick is also a threat in the passing game. Riscano has verbally committed to Michigan State. At Willis, junior DJ Lagway burst onto the scene last year and hasn't looked back. Lagway threw for 1,500 yards and 17 touchdowns for the Wildcats last year and has gotten national attention for his work in the offseason. Lagway also ran for 700 yards too and led Willis to the second round of the postseason. The four-star Lagway is also a talented baseball player as well and hopes to play both in college. At the Woodlands, junior quarterback Mabry Matoyer is about as cool as his long golden locks. The dual threat threw for 2,400 yards and 25 touchdowns and on the ground rushed for 444 yards and 15 more scores. He's 6'6" with a strong arm and quick feet. And last year even showed he's a heck of a hurdler as well. Matoyer has a plethora of offers, including TCU, Florida State, and UNC. Oak Ridge has a dangerous defensive player in safety Justin Williams. He played a lot of safety at linebacker last year because he was the War Eagles' best playmaker. Williams has a nose for the ball carrier, and when he eyes in on his target, he lowers the boom. Justin has offers from Arizona State and Tulane, amongst others.
There are some great athletes in this district, but it takes some great coaches to get the best out of these guys. Oak Ridge head coach Mark Schmidt joined our Word for Soul to discuss how his young team hopes to battle through this district in our Media Day segment.
It's Media Day. We're talking District 136A, and I am joined with Oak Ridge head coach Mark Schmidt. Coach, man, oh Dave, what a change in realignment, huh? You go from 6 and having to scour around trying to find non-district games to 9-team district where you only have to find like 2. Your thoughts on the new district and some of the new teams you have that joined in?
Yeah, 2 years ago we got caught and everybody was scrambling to find 5 non-district games. That was a big surprise to us. And then this year we were surprised because we had went into the realignment meeting, everybody having those games and then telling people that we were going to have to drop them. So this year was a little bit better. You didn't feel like you were scrambling to get games, but nevertheless, a 9-team district, you've got 2 non-district games to warm up and you're getting after it pretty early. So it's different, but a lot of the faces are familiar. We added New Caney and we added Cleveland. And we brought up Caney Creek. And so all of the Conroe ISD schools will be 6A next year in the same district. And then we'll have 3 outside of CISD, and that'll be Willis, New Caney, and Cleveland.
What are your thoughts on, New Caney's coming in there with that running back, Riscano, that's pretty good. You guys got a lot of talent in this district, like individual talent. It's, I guess, who can bottle it all up together and get in those top 4 spots, right?
Yeah, there's some premier players kind of scattered through the district, which should make every week, exciting, in terms of watching some premier players play. But you're right, it's going to come down to, who can do the best job as a team of keeping it all together and taking advantage of your talents and your opportunities. Staying healthy will be critical. It's a long district slate. You got to play 8 games, and so a lot can happen over those 8 weeks.
I appreciate you joining with me today.
You bet. Thank you very much.
A piece of Oak Ridge trivia for you. Soon to be NFL Hall of Famer Adrian Peterson has a half-brother on the War Eagles team. That's quite the pedigree right there. You can hear the entire interview with Coach Smith on our social media platforms this Friday. Or like I said, if you just can't wait, hop over to our podcast on Inside High School Sports Houston on iTunes and Spotify. Next week, we head over to 146A to talk about another tough district. You can keep up with everything on the high school football scene on our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram accounts. Until next time, I am Ashley Blinson, and thank you for watching Campfire.